I'll let you
explain myself.
Hi everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to Power Hour today. Today, as you can see, we're in a different location. We're at Kappa Tea on Church Street in the center of Cape Town, and it is awesome. So definitely come down and check it out if you haven't already. And today I'm with Pride. So Pride is many things. She's one of the executives from Foschini. She's also got a number of her own ventures, both running and to be running soon. But today we're focused on personal brand and discussing all things identity, personal brand. And so I'm really excited to have you here today.
Ah, thank you.
I think to start with, you've been on a bit of a journey. In fact, you said you started this 10 years ago, exploring this topic. So why don't you start with, you just tell us a bit about that?
I'm in marketing, obviously, and one of the things that we talk about a lot is branding for products. So when personal branding became a hype back in the day in like 2007, I think, we all kind of started thinking, how do you start branding yourself? And because you already have the skills and the knowledge of how to do product branding, we started then doing personal branding, see how that would help you with your career. So that's how far back this conversation sort of dates. And back then it was simple. It was about how you present yourself, reputation. There was no Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or anything like that. Believe it or not, how insane, right?
What, 8 years ago, there was none of that?
No, at the time, I mean, that's not what you were considering as your personal brand. You were literally just looking at, how do I arrive at work? What do I wear? A big part of it was image management, exactly. What do I wear to work, for interviews, etc.? How do I speak? And what do I write on my CV? Do I add a cover letter or not? So that's really what it was at the time. But one of the biggest challenges for me then was, because of the industry I was in, I was expected to be very much out there personality-wise, we were all in brand marketing, but for experiences. So you were the ambassador for the brand.
Okay.
And that was not very comfortable for me. I wasn't quite that, I don't want to call it extroverted, I wasn't quite out there. So as I wrote my personal brand, I was always very cautious not to sound, bold and loud and out there, even though that's what was expected.
Yeah.
So from then I kept asking myself, is this truly personal branding? Because it feels like there's a bit of authenticity lacking a little bit. And so I started kind of writing about the idea of your true personal brand based on who you truly are.
Amazing. And so you weren't still in fashion back then? You were brand...
No, I was in banking, which is so different, very formal. I wore suits, no sneakers.
Oh, wow.
So it was really different. And even in banking, it felt important to brand yourself correctly, mostly because I'm not in finance, I'm in marketing in a banking environment.
Yeah.
So how do you stand out?
Definitely.
So, yeah.
And so, I mean, you sent me obviously a bit of the blurb from the book that you've been working on, and it's all around this topic of, I guess, being bold versus not introverted, but kind of, well, you call it the Batman and Robin.
I call it a Batman and Robin. So let me maybe explain to everybody what the Batman and Robin is. It's how the world looks at what they celebrate. The world, society, everybody celebrates Batman, which means you're expected to be out there saving the day. You're expected to be number one. It's what we tell children as they're growing up, be number one.
Absolutely. And
because everyone in society is conditioned that way, we start believing that this is what you should be. You should be out there, you should be number one, you should be saving the day, you should be the first one to speak or the last one to speak. And you start personifying those things, whether you are consciously doing it or subconsciously doing it. So when you sit back and think, okay, how do I want to show up in the world? You attribute Batman. Now, there's a second side to that, which is who I call the Robins. And if you think about Batman and Robin, I used to read Batman and Robin all the time as a child. And I never read about Robin. There was never a topic about Robin.
No, not at all.
No, it's only recently, I think the Marvel movies, it was the first time I heard of Batman and Robin, and I thought, I knew there was a Robin, but I didn't know anything about him. And then, who is this Robin? And then you found out Batman didn't come up with the Batmobile, Robin did.
Oh my gosh,
exactly, Robin came up with that technology, thought up how to get through all the crime scenes, etc. Very meticulous and all the skill sets. So Robins are really the people behind the scenes. It doesn't mean they're introverts. It just means that they like quietly going along what they do and doing excellent work just like Batman would, except without the audience.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah. So the world doesn't quite, for me, celebrate Robin as much as they should.
No, absolutely. I mean, in the movies or in real life. And so, I mean, you're right. The world is conditioning people from a young age to think, be competitive, be number one, be loud, be bold, be out there. What effect is that having on people who maybe aren't naturally Batmans, do you think?
I think most Robins feel that they are possibly comfortable with who they are to themselves, right? But when they come out into the world, they force this habit of being out there, being number one, being louder than everyone, or having an opinion more than anyone. Even the idea of networking can be tiring for a Robin. And whenever I hear step-by-steps of how to build a brand, one of the things that comes up is, go out there, network all the time.
Yeah.
It's tiring.
I just want to
sit home and have my tea. You know, so someone who has Robin attributes is likely to start feeling and thinking that they should be out there, and they start limiting what they actually potentially could do because they're using up all their time and energy on something that's not authentically them.
Absolutely.
So when they're thinking about their personal brand, they might want to write down, you know, I'm going to be Batman, but what they should actually consider is how truly great they could be without the Batman aspects of it.
Definitely. And so how do you know if you are truly a Batman or truly a Robin? Because I guess all of us have a bit of both.
Yes. It's kind of which one is your most comfortable nature. So if you are a Robin, I'd say, and you're operating like a Batman, you're out there, you're likely to find your career extremely exhausting. You're likely to find the many interactions it requires with people tiring as opposed to inspiring or energizing. You're likely to almost feel as if it's a lot. You just want to retreat a little bit. It's not that you hate your job or you hate your career. It's just tiring. It's a tiring kind of way of getting to the top. When you're a Batman operating as a Robin, you're going to think nothing is enough. When you're in the background, when you should be in the forefront, when you should be on a stage, you're going to think this is not enough. I should be doing more. You're constantly going to not feel fulfilled. And that's because you're not living necessarily to your true potential. And so that's kind of from people that I've asked, as I was writing, I mean, I remember initially it was just friends and colleagues. Over time, it became friends, colleagues, strangers, and just about everybody else that I would meet, I would ask them the same questions. And you get the similar responses. By the way, Robins are not introverts. I think I said this before. It's a real thing. When I talk about it, you just think of this introverted person. No, it's just someone who simply has a different way of approaching the world.
Because I would say, I mean, from our encounters, I think you're quite extroverted, but you are a self-proclaimed Robin. So it is interesting to kind of split those two.
And I'm glad you mentioned me, because for me it's been quite a tussle, and it's kind of varied between what roles or jobs that I'm in, and it's also varied between what I'm expected to be perhaps at home as well. And so I've kind of tussled between the two, and I've realized that if I stay true to what I'm comfortable in, which is my Robin space, whenever I have to come out and speak, my confidence is more because I have more energy, because I've reserved the energy when I've been operating as myself. So it doesn't feel out of place in any way.
And so how do, I mean, you've worked for SAB and obviously now for Foschini and I mean, a bunch of other places. So how has how do you interact differently, or what's the response been, and I guess the transition as well when you wanted to own your Robin?
So I remember this clearly at SAB. We did a phenomenal piece of work back in the day with my team, and there was a day we actually won an award and we had to go up on stage, right, and receive the award, and I didn't go up. And even though I led the project, I didn't stand up. And I think at the time it was the MD had to say my name twice and say, oh, is she not in the room? And eventually I was like, okay, I'm right here. And I got up and I went up on stage. So to anyone who knew me back then, they wouldn't have even anticipated that moment would ever happen, because normally when they see me, they just see the vibrancy and what I deliver daily. But that is really the moment where I had to make a decision in a way. So places like SAB actually taught me confidence, and they taught me to stand true to who I am. And then as I navigated the more challenging roles that I've had, perhaps in financial services, for example, that's where I got to exercise some of that confidence and see, you know, is this working, is this not working? Right now where I am at Foschini, I I am incredibly settled. I feel as if there's very little that I have to do every single morning in order to deliver my purpose, because I feel like I found the sweet spot in terms of when I'm myself, when do I then have to rise up to the occasion, and that really works for me. And I've seen the response around me. People gravitate to the work that I'm doing. People respond to the work that we're all doing. So I think I'm settled. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, actually, I mean, you say that you're living your purpose, and that's, I think, something incredibly rare to hear and probably to say. So how did you define your purpose, and how do you kind of stay on track with that?
Okay,
I'm going off topic.
No, stay on topic. This is actually on topic. Earlier, I didn't tell you. Earlier, I said there's many ways to get to a personal brand, but to get to a purpose is different.
Yeah.
When Simon Sinek, I think you've heard of Simon Sinek, when he came up with the golden circle, the why, I just went, hallelujah, somebody's finally translating something that I've been feeling,
like, hey,
I was just like, yeah, like mine's a triangle, but whatever. It's all good, And how I think I came into living my purpose as opposed to finding it, because I think I always kind of felt it from a young age, which is I'm at my best when I've encouraged or when I've inspired someone to be their best self. So when I find someone who's found their why, that's when I'm at my best. And I feel inspired to do that, and I tirelessly can do that because I have capacity for that I don't have to bring myself. It's almost like a gift that I feel is given to me.
Amazing.
And I've comfortably lived in that. I just didn't know that was my purpose, because I thought my purpose has to be something tangible, like
or something related to your job.
Or related to my job, or something to do with charity or something. Because when we grow up, that's what we're told. We're told, go do something that will help the world. So you automatically think, start an NGO, but that's not it at all. In any situation, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to. When someone finds their way to their why, then I feel that I've contributed in some way, or I've delivered the gift as it's given to me. So that's really what it is.
And how did you define this why, or was it just one day you just realized this is what it is?
No, over time I've tried to write down moments where I feel led and moments where I feel I'm blocking, because I block.
Okay.
Because I'm a fixer, I tend to block what's in front of me and try and fix it and fiddle with it. Okay. But when I let go and I actually listen more intently, and I only contribute when I'm led to, I've written down those moments. And not to be more ethereal, to be more practical, I've literally said, where were the jobs where I felt the most comfortable? Because we all refer to our careers when we think of our purpose. We never think of home things, right? So I wrote down, where have I felt comfortable? The other thing that I did was I wrote down my history. So I'm going to encourage everyone to do this. Write down your autobiography.
Gosh.
I know you don't think you're young enough or you haven't achieved anything. Write your autobiography.
So
start from the beginning. Start from Pride was born on. Write it down.
Okay.
And write down every chapter as if it's a year if you have to. It's going to feel like a long process.
Yeah.
But when you read back on that autobiography, in there you'll be able to easily map the moments where you've been truly fulfilled, and in there your purpose lies.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's amazing, and I've never heard anyone say that before.
Yep, I wrote mine, the first time I wrote it took me 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it wasn't a long one, it just took me 4 months to write. It wasn't long at all, it was less than 50 pages. But it just took long because I think I was overanalyzing everything.
Yeah.
And really the trick is just write what you're feeling. Also, I had one person read it. It wasn't an easy thing to do. It's like, you know me really well, read this. And I remember she said, some of these events don't match the way I remember them. So I said, oh really? Tell me about it. And she said, well, this is actually what I believe happened. And then I realized I write my autobio according to who I believe I should be.
That's really interesting.
And that's naturally what we do as people.
Yeah.
So it also helped me realize who I really want to be, or who I want to be seen as in the world.
I think that's such a great exercise. I launched a new website a little while ago, and I have 2 paragraphs. It was about me section. It's the last thing I did. I almost scrapped it. I was like, maybe I don't even need an about me section. This is way too hard. And then I wrote it, and I was like, I actually don't think this is me at all. What the hell have I written? And I went back and scrapped it and had to start again. So I think it's an exercise that you need to do, but you probably need to, as you say, keep going back and being like, is this real? Is this authentic? And I mean, you change too, so it won't be forever. But
Exactly. That's why you get to rewrite it. The reason I say go as far back as, you know, I was born on this day is
it's an
because
easy place to start.
one, it's an easy place to start, but also you'd be amazed how a lot of the things that happened to you that you remember actually frame how you think about the world. I say to you, I'm a Robin because of how I was raised. I was actually raised in such a way that everyone around me underplayed their greatness. Not because they were humble, it was just a way of life. Everybody in my family is super incredible, but they just played it cool, you know?
Okay.
So I thought the thing to do is to play it cool.
Yeah, well, you do
know?
that.
Yeah, but sometimes that playing cool became stay in the background too far, that when it's time to actually deliver on your purpose, you don't actually step forward.
Okay.
And so writing the story that far back helped me realize this framing is not mine. It came along with the package. I need to reframe it.
Yeah, it's like a really good exercise in self-discovery.
That's it. And then at the end, your brand comes out of that. You're like, oh, okay, cool. I actually like that. Great, write it down. You know, I belong in a place where people do X, Y, and Z. Great, write it down. Okay. And then, you know, I love to travel. That's a big part of it. Write it down. It's important.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm quite an analytical person.
Yes.
So all of this is nice, and I'm like, cool. I think I'm maybe a Batman, but like, what do I do with that information? Or how do I turn that into something that's kind of actionable for me? Which is probably Batman, like coming out in itself. How do I
take off your cape?
Yeah, kind of. Let's say someone's listening and they're a Robin.
Yes.
How do they craft that, and how do they become that more and action it? I guess.
Okay, so let me frame it differently for both sides. I think the first thing is you're not gonna wake up and go, I'm a Robin or I'm a Batman. So do the autobio for yourself. Ask a few people around you who know you well or who don't know you well, how they think you come across. And once you have all the information and you've decided, you know what, I actually like life in the background. You know, earlier I was saying we all read about Steve Jobs. We never necessarily knew about Wozniak. But if you are Wozniak, just go, okay, what are the things that I bring to the table? Note those down. That's a real analytical story that you do need to put down. And then say, how do I like to bring them forward? How do I like to deliver things? You know, how do I like to show up at work? Do I like presenting even as a thing? Because it's expected in so many places, but it's not for everybody, right? Right? How you want to appear. And then go ahead and say, am I in the right place?
Okay.
Where I am in my life right now. Am I in a position to deliver these things in the style optimally in order to change the world? And this is all said assuming you already know what your why is. But if you don't know what your why is, go back to that exercise first and say, why am I doing all these things? Why is it important for these things to happen?
So 2 fairly easy challenges we're giving people today. Just
That's it. Just write your why and a bio. Take 4 months to 6. You should be okay. No, it's not that bad. Or you can just, I guess, ask. You know, I was saying earlier, maybe we should open up a platform, you and I, where people can ask these questions and then see how that goes.
We have to now because it's out there.
Okay, great.
Welcome. Okay, so back to, I guess, some of the actions. You mentioned your 3 spices and your 5 ingredients. So I don't know what those are either. So please tell us.
I like that. Okay, so the ingredients are the things you can do to build your brand. May not be sustainable for too long, but you have to do these things, right? Your spices are, without these things, they're not unique to you.
Okay.
So your spices are the things that make it unique to you.
Okay.
Nice. So I'll do the spices because the others are easy, which is where are you, what are you doing, you know, find your steps. That's easy. The ingredients are easy. The 3 spices, find your why. I've said it so many times, it's the most important piece. The reason for that is you and I could have the same cause, we could even have the same job, but we never have the same reason for doing it. Which means that at the end of the day, when we both know why we're doing it, we'd influence the world differently. So go for the exercise and say, why am I in this space? And you could be doing anything with your life. So I'll use a very easy example, maybe. Let me use myself. It's always easy. Because I know that my why is for other people to find their why, I can do that anywhere. I can do that in any industry. But more specifically, it's always gravitated towards women because a lot of things in my life have evolved around women finding their power and rising. So now I've narrowed it down. I need to work with people, organizations, and brands that inspire women to find their place in the world. So that is how you find your why. So that's how you translate it. So then, in a way, you have your first spice. Then, once you've found your why, I'm going to check my list.
Oh, I love it. Well, while you're doing that, though, because actually Foschini, you were telling me the other day, is building the all-female economy. So where you are at the moment, and you have that Future is Female campaign, which obviously us as future females absolutely love and align with. So, I mean, your why is like resonating out through your organization as much as it is from yourself. So,
and the thing is, when you're so clear and you do find the right brand, there's very little you need to do because the rest flows through you. So it's really good. The second, the obvious one, which because we're talking so much, I almost forgot, is actually decide if you're a Robin or a Batman right now.
Okay.
Right, I say right now because some people have a framing from back in the day that dictates who they should be until a certain point in time.
Yeah.
Until you unlock that, you're gonna be one or the other, which is fine. It's not forever. Right now, I like being in the background. I like formulating things that change the world without the world's eyes on me.
Absolutely.
Right?
Don't
I like creating solutions for others to take forth and do great things with it. I must tell you, we went to Design Indaba recently, and of all the speakers who are forefront runners in everything that they do, there was a lady who built stages for Kanye West, for Beyonce, and she took my breath away. I was listening to her and thinking, oh my word.
She's literally rising them up.
Oh my word, that's it, right? She's the ultimate Robin. She is killing it in her game, but she's the woman in the background creating beautiful backgrounds for the people you actually pay to go see, the Batman, right?
And I've never thought about who built the stage before, so it's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Wow.
The power behind that alone.
Definitely.
So once you've decided, then you have to write your autobio.
Okay.
Then after your autobio, you're good to go.
You're good to go.
You're good to go.
Oh gosh, okay, amazing. And so what's next for you? So you've obviously owned this as a book in progress. We should just put a launch date out there right now.
I think we should, because I've been meaning to write this for so long that maybe a launch date that's public would like put me under pressure to just get there. Ooh, okay. I think by my next birthday in December, the book will be out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to read it.
The chapters will be out online. So I do want to make it an online book so that it's accessible to everybody. I do want to share it chapter by chapter. So I will be sharing that with your community. And it's very important that those chapters speak to something relevant that people can continue on. You know, what I've given you today is more what I've learned, what I've researched, and the theory. There is practical things that people can apply daily. And I think that's more important, that everybody finds that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's very inspiring, and that's where it all starts.
Yeah.
And I think thinking about your personal brand is really step one. Particularly a lot of our audience are entrepreneurs, as well as people in corporates. But as an entrepreneur, you're so focused on your business that you kind of forget to think about yourself.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
It's good to have that time out, and your story is to inspire people. So thank you so much for coming down and sharing your knowledge with us.
Thanks, Lauren.
And thank you everyone for tuning in. I will talk to you in a week on the next Power Hour, and I'll announce the guest next week. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yay, thanks.
Yay.